Is public safety worth the cost? The Daniel Penny case and saga continues. December 8th, Daniel Penny, military, American veteran, was acquitted of the murder of Jordan Neely, a guy who he was tussling with on the subway, put him in a chokehold. He was, afraid for his life. He was bothering a bunch of people on the subway. We've all been on the subway. We've all seen some crazy things on the subway.
Every time.
Every time you're on the subway, there's something wacky going on. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's really scary. In this situation, it was the latter, of those situations. And, he was acquitted by a jury of his peers on December 8th. What are your guys' thoughts on this, Josh?
First, Semper Fi. Always faithful to all my my Marines out there, veterans and currently serving the U.S. military. My whole family's from the Marine Corps, so I understand that lifestyle. Marines don't die; they go to hell and regroup, is what they say. So, but no, this is a serious legal topic, and it's whether or not you're able to use deadly force in a matter where you think other people's lives are in harm. And I think that's what was really the deciding factor here in arguing this case in court, is whether or not you feel that other people's lives are in harm. And if that's the case, then typically, right, state to state is different, but in New York, you use deadly force in order to protect somebody from being killed, right? You could use deadly force to protect yourself. If you think your life is in imminent danger and you're gonna die, I could use deadly force to kill you. Now, the situation here gets a little gray because he's a Marine. He's obviously got combat skills. He knows how to fight. He knows how to use deadly force, whether there was an excessive, how long did he have the chokehold on this guy on the platform, are all topics of discussions, right? Where they're going to argue both sides. Oh, he should have let him go, or he wasn't scared. Well, in reality, did he think that there was deadly force that needed to happen, and that's why I think essentially he was acquitted.
So I think what Josh was saying exactly is, he's trained, he's specialized in how to protect himself, Americans, and the country, and being on the subway. I don't know how long he's been out of the Marines, if he was even out of the Marines. Maybe he's just home for the weekend. So there might be some psychological things that we need to look at for him, because again, I don't think we have enough services for our veterans and what we do. So maybe that's a difference of assimilation back into society, and maybe there was something there. But we do know that day on the subway, people were being harassed and it was not a safe environment for a lot of the bystanders, and Neely stepped in to protect the passengers aboard the subway, which hats off to him, kudos to him on all that. But now we have to look at, all right, was his force necessary? Did he go above and beyond the use of force that would have been needed to circumvent that situation? And did his actions cause the death of Jordan Neely? The last thing I want to put out there is that Jordan Neely, he was found to have chemicals in his person during the day. It wasn't just Jordan Neely just hanging out and training. He was just attacked by...
Well, listen, I think a couple of things here come to mind, and as a lawyer, and I'm sure a lot of people want to know, is first off, as Daniel Penny, how do you afford to fight for your freedom? We all have a lot of clients and have seen a lot of things on the media about innocent until proven guilty or vice versa. But the reality of it is that a lawsuit like this is extremely costly. This probably cost Daniel Penny $500,000 at least to fight the media and to fight this case in court. So,
because this is a case that's won or lost to the media, whether he actually wins in court or not.
There's ramifications for sure.
Because it seems like they're making it more of a racial war than it needs to be. Because I don't think he had any racial intent I think he was just standing up, trying to protect people. And listen, I've been on the subway. It's not the best environment, and as you all know, I try to avoid it whenever I can. But I tell you what, I've gone to Europe, and I've taken in London the tube. It's clean, it's great, it's excellent. I've been in Spain, it's been great. I mean, why can't we have the same safety and cleanliness of our subways here in this country? It is absurd, outrageous. And the other thing that we need to look to is the crooks of the MTA. That's right, the crooks of the MTA.
Yeah.
I've never seen fees go up so fast.
Throw New Jersey Transit in there.
In New Jersey Transit. And the fees go up so fast, and the quality of what you get gets worse. Well, so talk about, it starts with Verrazano Bridge, as everybody knows that story.
I got one story here. This is about my father, former Marine, Cowboy Al. God bless you. Thank you for your service. My father and I rode the subway every day together. We built scenery for Broadway shows in Lincoln Center. We took the one uptown. I wasn't with my father this day. He comes home from work and he says, Josh, happy you're home for the holidays. I almost died yesterday. And I said, oh my God. I said, please tell me what really happened. And he tells me about a subway altercation on the 1 headed downtown where there was a gentleman who was harassing some elder ladies. And my father, being the guy that he is, stepped in front and tried to defuse the situation. Now, my father's a little hot-headed at times, but I don't think he was the one that caused the situation. And what happened was, as my father stepped in front of the guy, the gentleman spit on my father. He went to go put his hands up, and then the gentleman reached into his jacket and pulled out a steak knife with a wooden handle, like an Outback steak knife, essentially, and tried to stab my father. Now, fortunately, my father's trained and, military trained, martial arts trained. He grabbed the poles on the subway, jumped up, karate kicked this guy out of the subway system, out of the subway doors, right as the subway stopped, I think on 42nd Street. And now my dad's in this weird situation. What do? Fight or flight. Obviously, my father being who he is, he said, gloves off. You try to stab me and kill me on the subway, it's time to fight. So, from my dad says, fortunately, this guy got away. But this is a scary thing that we deal with on the subway every day. And if there's not security down there, these are situations that happen. I mean, had there been more MTA police, maybe this situation would be diffused.
That's where I was gonna go
yeah.
with. Because it's not like this is the first time we're talking about an issue on the subway or any kind of mass transit. Based on the mass transit companies knowing that these events can occur and have occurred and probably will continue to occur, do they have an obligation to provide security or employ somebody that can...
More MTA officers.
Right.
Oh, why is there not undercover, plain dressed MTA officers on the subways all day, every day, forever? Until the subways have the proper camera systems and everything and alerts and protections, I think it's important that we have more policing down there because it's crazy.
Ultimately, what the case is about, right?
Yeah.
Daniel Penny, a Marine, he used force.
Deadly
The question
force,
is,
yeah.
was it excessive under the circumstances? And given that this gentleman this person who he killed, caused to die, knowing that this guy was likely mentally unstable and other things going on. But if you've watched the videos, he's got him in a chokehold for a little bit there, but the guy's still fighting. He's not, it's not like he's subdued. He is still trying to fight him. So, and if you're in that situation as Daniel Penny, are you supposed to have like a rational thought that says, okay, I'm supposed to stop now because is this excessive force under the law? No, you're in a high adrenaline, life-changing situation, and you're not. Hindsight's 20/20, and I think the jury probably got this one right, and hopefully Daniel Penny can move on with life.
Well, I think one more wrinkle here is what happened if Daniel Penny was an officer, a police officer, and this situation happened. I think again now the media gets a hold of it and this spirals out of control. We saw something like this a couple years back during COVID where there was a standard knee procedure on a gentleman's neck, and that person passed away, and they found out there was other situations involved, but those officers were prosecuted. So there's obviously a level of whether or not you could use excessive force.
That was excessive force.
Excessive force, and again,
there's clear video evidence where as Josh alluded to, that Neely is fighting. He's trying to still fight back. I agree. Like, at what point do you let somebody could attack you and others free again because they're trying to fight back, or do you continue to subdue this situation until you can resolve it?
But lastly, you got to know your state laws. Can you use deadly force? New York, you can't use deadly force to stand your ground in your home, but you can in Florida. So every state law is a little bit different when it comes to murder, when it comes to defending yourselves. Typically, you can use deadly force if you feel your life is in harm's way, or in danger, deadly danger type of thing. But he survived this one, and hopefully, like you said, hopefully he can get back on track and figure out what the future is going to hold.